Thank you for joining me for another quick hits conversation. Today, I would like to talk about how do you get yourself to do difficult things? Who wants to jump in first?
Is it too difficult for us to do that?
Apparently.
The immediate thought I had when you sent that question over was I just pile on the stress and the external pressure. And then I went, but that's not true for all the cases, because that's true when it's something that I don't really want to do, which
Mm.
makes it feel difficult or hard.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, wait, no, most of the things that I do that are super challenging are things that I dive into because I want to.
Mm.
And so I had to reframe the whole question after a second. Yeah, that's where I was left after a moment.
Okay.
That was a little bit like that too. My first thought was, what kind of difficult things were they? And I ended up, like I hear you say, that some things I do want to do and other things I don't want to do. And a third, some things I don't want to do, but I would like to have the result.
Mm. Yes.
And I found different strategies. Sometimes I plan and I plan and I plan and I hope that will make it happen.
Mm.
Sometimes I just do it. I mean, instead of defining a goal or an objective, make it a habit.
Mm.
Well, I've come to the realization that nothing worthwhile in life comes without a lot of SHIT and a lot of GRIT. And I found that it's really, if I want to achieve a goal or grow in a certain area, and it doesn't matter what area of my life I'm referring to, I believe that now it's a willingness and a conscious decision. So a willingness to do what it takes and accepting the fact that nothing worthwhile comes without a lot of hard work and a lot of pain and a lot of challenge. But you know, the real blessings are that's where the growth comes from. So I think, you know, whenever I'm feeling stressed and trying to achieve something and I'm going through a lot of pain, I'm learning to embrace it more, because that's, you know, you don't realize it at that time, but after the fact.
I think we're going to make the most benefit for people watching this if we talk about the things, the difficult things that we have to do that we don't want to do, because it's pretty easy to do a difficult thing you want to do. You just like, yes, I'm in, let's go. But if it's a thing you have to do and you don't really want to do, so let's take that angle, because that's a good point. You know, what's difficult. So let's take that angle. How do you do difficult things that you'd really rather not have to do?
Well, even for things I don't want to do, like would like to lose some weight, but I don't want to eat less. So I try to make it a habit, both the exercise and the way I eat.
Okay.
When it is talking with a customer that is not so happy, displeased in some way, I think what I do is to think, whom would I like to be? In this situation, and not to think too much about do I like it or not, but what would I like to say about myself afterwards?
Okay. I think for me, the thing that I like to do when I'm facing something difficult is break it down. Because if I look at the whole big picture, it's overwhelming. And then I procrastinate and I find myself doing things like vacuuming my house, which if I'm vacuuming my house, I can tell you I'm procrastinating something. Definitely. I'm not doing something I should be doing. So I like to break it down and then write on my, because I'm a list maker, write on my list all the little tiny steps, because then I can start seeing progress as I'm working toward a difficult goal. That's one thing I like to do.
I totally agree with that. I think it's, you know, one step at a time, and also creating habits. And habits are created by consistency and repeating the same things over and over. And so I think that, you know, nothing is going to come overnight, and accepting that. But yes, breaking it down, creating habits, and taking it one step at a time, because the results come with the consistency.
Yeah.
I actually love leveraging the procrastination in a form of structured procrastination. If I have enough high priority items, I can avoid one of them and still get other important things done while I'm avoiding that one.
Now,
As
Wayne,
long as
I know
those
you're someone who
highest
loads your
priority
plate. You load your plate way too full, and so you're basically catching stuff as it's falling off the edge of your plate. That's your method of doing difficult things.
Yep. And I've heard someone else call it structured procrastination, where, they said, even in the article, they're like, I'm writing this article so that I can avoid grading right now.
Mm.
But the more important things you have that you're clear on, and that can be helped by, like you're saying, breaking it down into smaller tasks. Well, if all the tasks are part of that important goal, great. We can avoid one of them and still get stuff done that needs to get done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Is there ever
Yeah.
a time where you just decide a difficult thing doesn't have to be done and you literally just decide not to do it? Like, okay, that's not important because I obviously don't want to do it. It must not be important. Is that a strategy?
Why put off till tomorrow what you can put off indefinitely?
What do you think, Suzanne?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about that. When I joined, when I wanted to get better at public speaking, I was absolutely terrified. And I joined Toastmasters a few years ago. And when I showed up, I just sat there for 3 months like frozen because I was terrified.
Mm.
You put me in front of any individual at any level, I'm fine. But in front of a group, I wasn't so great. And so I kind of decided after I gave my icebreaker speech, I decided that I just wasn't cut out for it, that I wasn't good at it. And, I was listening to the inner voice in my head that, that nasty voice that tells us, projects on us things that, other people are thinking, which they're really not. And so I listened to the voice and I left. And then I asked myself 2 questions after that. I said, what would feel better, going back or not going back? So I decided to go back. And then, I took it one step at a time and I did things in very small doses. And that's what allowed me to grow.
Mm.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I was thinking about when you brought it up.
No, that's good. I'm also, I guess, wondering, is there a way to ask yourself, why is this so difficult? Why am I avoiding this? And figure out, like, because to your point, like you were listening to that inner voice. So that was your why, and you had to kind of come to that conclusion before you could move forward. So what does it look like to ask yourself, why am I vacuuming my house?
Right, exactly. That's the root of it. And if we can find that out, then I think that's the best thing we can do, is figure out why. Where is it really coming from? And oftentimes it's just, maybe a stigma that we have, or, some sort of a belief that's deep rooted that we need to overcome first.
Yeah.
Or eventually.
So what I think, sorry.
Go ahead, Lena.
So what I think about when I hear you too is that to distance yourself from what you want to do or what you don't want to do, either to realize that you'd like to do it and go ahead, or realizing that, no, actually I don't. I've been trying and trying, but when I distance myself, no, actually it's not important anymore. So,
Actually, I like that. I like that summary really well, that you have to decide, is it important or not? And if it's important, then figure out how to make yourself do it. And if it means loading your plate to the point that it falls off the edge and you catch it, then that's what you do. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. We have about 40 seconds left. Does anybody have a quick thing that they'd like to add here at the end? Another thought?
I really like that approach of I'm going to put this off and I'm going to let other people prioritize at times. Like, you want me to do this task, I'm expecting you to follow up and make sure it happens.
Ah, interesting.
If it's not important to me also, then it needs to be your priority.
Yeah.
And I would just encourage people to not be too afraid to step out of the box, to try something new. And you know what? If you try it and you don't like it, or it's not working for you, then hey, you don't
Stop
have to
doing it.
do it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. This has been a really interesting conversation. I love the idea of stepping back, looking at, is it important or is it not? Break it down into ideas. And if somebody else says that it's a priority for you, make them responsible for following up for it. Those are some really great tips. So thanks so much. We'll do it again real soon.